Okay. I just want to announce to the webinar people what's going to happen. I don't need to be seen. I can just be a voice. But am I a voice? I am a voice. Hi, webinarians. You can't see me, and I can't see you. But here is a chart, and many charts are going to be put up on the screen. And we have a group of 3 astrological interpreters. Nicholas Nylén from Sweden. We have Elena Dramchini from Slovakia. And we have Leonie Hudson from Brisbane, Australia. And we have a number of the members of the group who you probably will not see as well, but you will see the charts. And the theme is going to be the reconciliation of the soul and personality, the dissolving of the point of friction, which prevents the fusion of soul and personality. And the astrologers are going to tell what they see about this process of merging soul and personality and dissolving the friction which prevents this from happening. It's a large theme and something that's very important for all of us as we work as disciples in the field of esotericism. So this will be like a lesson in astrology, a lesson in practical astrology, and the people will present their symbol or their image or their word that they received in meditation this morning regarding the fusion of their soul and personality. So everybody in the group, do remember that, okay? And can you be heard well on those mics there? Are they good, Sharon? Yeah?
1, 2.
Because you don't always want to have to be putting them on and off. The group should just be able to speak spontaneously.
May I suggest before starting we have alignment?
That's Elena speaking, and alignment begins. Okay, enjoy everybody.
Please, everybody, focus. Release all the tension. Focus the energy on a mental plane. Lifting it to the soul light. Feel the light of the soul illuminating the mind. And keep it steady in that light. Trying to keep it focused through the whole process of steady, focused soul light and silence. Resounding the Om. Thank you.
altogether 180. Plus 45 is 350. 195, so it's less.
I'm going to give you 10 minutes max, so at about 9 minutes-ish, I'll ring a bell I don't have.
There is a bell.
I'll get the bell.
Okay.
In order to do this, people need to move, so the first person
Could we
there,
have a chair somewhere? Where
it is right there. Elena?
To the back.
Okay.
So, Francis? Go.
So as you take your seat, please state your name clearly so we can find you in the files here, please.
Francis Donald.
And then when the horoscope is showing, please just check to see that it's what you're used to.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Okay. Okay, so I guess it's good if you can then start off the process by telling us a little bit about the impressions you've had during the meditation work and the different symbols that it may have come to you,
Sure.
and then we'll try to get in on the process.
Great. Thank you. The that which created the conflict was the sense of my personality self being enclosed within a sphere, and the membrane over the, what you might call the polar area of that sphere, not being permeable, but being opaque. And the sense that the soul was beyond that sphere, and therefore I was, in a sense, trapped inside personality connection, and no matter how much work I did inside that sphere, it wasn't what I was looking for. And the symbol of the resolution was to put a two-way eye at the north pole, as it were, of the sphere, thus creating this vortex dynamic that allowed for passage from the personality sphere both out and in. And still keeping that protective etheric web in place in the north. And the word symbol, because it was an actual symbol that came with that I, was to put the literal I, as in I am, over the I that saw both ways. And then the am was the flow of energy set above the I and below the I, going in both directions. I am. And then there was the that of my personality in the center of that sphere, and the that of my soul in the center of the sphere above that. So instead of having an I am that in a linear way, you have this sense of it moving out of the center of the I, and literally, interestingly, the double I of an actual I being the focal point of that, and then moving up into the soul and down into the personality. So you have, though it's not read linearly, you have I am that in both directions. And that became the personality-soul connection symbol. And the important shift there, I realized, was to place the I at the point of connection rather than in the embodied self of the personality. Starting with I as identity in the personality, moving I am that, but have it in the lens, so to speak, that exists between the two. I am that, am I. And then as only Michael can do, in my experience anyway, that incredible second stage that he always takes it to, where then we included the monad, that reading up from the I, it went I am that at the center of the soul, and then am I became the monad, and then the monad was itself the true I, which in a sense projected the double lens of the I that connected the soul and personality much clearer in an image than it is through words. And then the image that came from that, and the planet with this was Uranus in the seventh ray, and which connects, of course, matter and spirit. And so it was appropriate in that way. And then when it moved on to the next step, it was the down-growing tree whose roots were gathered around a sphere. The planet was Earth. And there was the all-encompassing I, which I realized was the Taurian I in fixed Earth. And the planet was the Earth, which infused the whole thing downwards. That was the meditation.
Rich meditation, it seems. Indeed.
Marvelous.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing that, Francis. Just the impression I get when I look at the chart, immediately I get the sense that there has to be very distinct reversal periods in your life. Critical periods when change has been the key word. Maybe it just happened like this in your life and no longer could you move in that direction, but you have to make a 90-degree shift or 180-degree shift even.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying that because you see the Sun has the opposition to Uranus here, and Uranus is the great planet of change, staring the Sun in the face, so to speak. You also have, as the most elevated point in the horoscope, the North Node, which you can see as a road where you follow from here and going up, and then reaching the top, you move the other way, so to speak. You move like this, and then you make the turn, and you move in the other direction. So this angle here with the midheaven, as it's called, that's indicating your career path, your life path, and when hence the North Node is there, it indicates a clear shift of direction in life. Oftentimes through somewhat traumatic or shocking events that you can be facing.
Thank you.
Those events can be quite hard to get rid of, but you should know that behind them is a good purpose, so to speak. And it's basically impulsed from the soul level, or should we say at least sanctioned from the soul level. Yeah. You have a very strong emphasis on should we say, completing or anchoring the ahamkaric principle, which is what we sometimes call the personality. We see that you have Leo rising, which is a sign where we build self-consciousness. And you have the planet Saturn close by in Leo, conjunct the ascendant, which builds this concretion of the personality and kind of defines the limits of the personality so that you really come to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you will also begin to understand what the limitations are, the circumference of your personality. Maybe that relates to something you mentioned from the meditation in terms of, what was it, a blanket or no, there was something...
Well, it's that membrane that covers the North Pole of the sphere of the personality.
Yeah.
rather than it being permeable, and that's why the eye was the resolution,
Right.
symbol of resolution, double. The eye that looks both ways.
Right, right. And so in a way the membrane is connected to Saturn here and also to the moon here, because these are the two indications of the form nature being very solidified and concretized. Also the fact that you have the sun in the 5th house, which is the Leo house, even makes this even stronger. That then comes in the influence of Neptune, which is a dissolving influence, which tries to melt this away, basically. Now, something is ringing, so the time. Okay, so I have to give some time here to my colleagues, maybe, or.
Okay, I
Yeah.
take it on. I'm going to focus on the theme of the conference here and looking at the triangle of the fourth ray, which is the Taurus. Which is the, how does it work? A Taurus, Scorpio, and Sagittarius triangle, which transmit the fourth ray. Now, out of this triangle, we see here that Sagittarian energy is the most powerful, because not only that it is the sun sign, but it is the ruler of the ascending sign, which is the sole purpose. So, obviously, Sagittarius is carrying the 4, 5, and 6 rays. So, if we are just focusing on the fourth ray here of this triangle, the major focus is in the house 4 and house 5, with the predominance maybe of the expression of the sun, because it's the most important planet of the chart in relation to the ascendant. So the 5th house, it's the house of many things, but I am focusing on the creative imagination of the 4th ray, Sagittarian energy, which I would find quite powerful, represented in your life. Would you identify with that?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, so the other, if we are focusing now in relation to this triangle, we have the nodal axis here, south node and north node. The north node is very important because it's conjuncting the MC here. So it's the Dharma point, and the Taurian energy, it's the Ajna, the illuminative energy, emphasized with the direction of the Dharma with the north node here. So the illumination of the fourth ray here, it's very important and very strong indication towards the future orientation of the Dharma and the goal. It's interesting that we find in the Scorpio energy, another fourth ray sign, we have the Chiron, which is on one side it's the wound, and on the other it's the healer or a guide. And the mental house, the mental house of the Chiron is emphasized here. There is some kind of adjustment or healing process on the mental level, which needs to be done in directing the fourth ray illuminative energy towards the intuitional level. There could be some kind of blockages because we have a square coming from the Chiron to the conjunction of Saturn, Pluto in the 12th house. more subjective work needs to be done in building of the Antakarana towards the triadal energies up to bring the Buddhic of the fourth ray into the mind here. I need to be very brief, obviously, with this, but the another two planets in relation to the conflict, I would take the Moon, Mars, and Mercury. And we see that Mars and Moon are in opposition, and they are also the lunar lords across the first house and the seventh house. So we have the identity issues in relation not only to the first house, to the Leo and Leo house. So, you know, this is a rather, involved situation here, which need to be resolved, because these are the conflicting energies in relation to the lower nature, but they are also the rulers of the third initiation. So there are some kind of tests present through the conflict in relation towards, related to the third initiation.
Thank you very much. No, I'll concede now. Maybe Leonie and I'll get together sometime and have this conversation. But somebody else needs to step in. So I'm over my time.
Thank you, Francis.
Just, let's just get a couple things. So the first couple times take a little bit longer, just so you know, but I'd ask that the people in the hot seat be really specific about the image and get the image and the words of power, and that will give the interpreters more time to talk about the chart. So if you can focus on maybe the words of power or a specific image that came to you in the meditation, that would give them something to work with. And then sometimes it's helpful with the astrologers if you each pick, Elena has picked the Ray 4 aspect in the chart. If you pick one piece of the theme for the conference and you each speak to that one over time, we get a nice little pattern going as well. But it all works out. So who's next?
And the name is Eva Smith.
It looks good. It says Eva Smith correct. Is it correct?
It's okay.
It's okay.
I've adjusted the time to be just before, but it's okay. It'll work.
Yeah.
All right. My the meditation was to work on what was the conflict there, or a point of resolution between the soul and the personality. What I concluded at that time was that what was standing in the way was the fact that I kind of like my personality, and so therefore I'm a little identified with the personality. When the two are working together, then I'm a very enlightened being that is efficient and responsible and does everything on that I'm supposed to do. The image that came to me to try to resolve this was a Neptunian, using Neptune, and Neptune rained down light into the personality, so that I was more the lighted house, and basically that resolved the problem.
Thank you, Eva. And Eva has picked for her symbol Neptune and it is the esoteric ruler of Cancer, the soul ruler. It brings through both soul energy because it rules on the esoteric level, and spiritual energy because it rules also on the hierarchical level. And so Cancer is the doorway to soul consciousness, and I see the ascendant as a doorway. And the ruler that and the symbol which Eva identified is Neptune, and it is in the 5th house in Libra in this chart. And that is such a beautiful, beautiful symbol. And when it has been appropriated by the ego, and Eva said that she loves her personality, I don't think there's anything wrong with that myself. It depends how much one loves oneself and whether that love is interfering with beautiful relationships with other people and whether it's a selfish love. But I think that the more that one becomes aligned with soul and spirit, the more that we actually start to really love ourselves. And this is just not at an ego level. This is down at a core base level. And so I think that's really lovely that you should love yourself and enjoy that. And Neptune helps us do that. And I'll concentrate on Neptune in this my part of the reading. And how it works, it dissolves gradually. And we have together Neptune and Jupiter conjunct there in the chart. And Neptune is the higher ruler of the solar plexus energy, and Jupiter is the ruler of the heart chakra in Disciples. And so what we have here is a powerful symbol telling Eva that in this life the soul wants Eva to do the purification work in her solar plexus energy and draw the energy up to her heart, and that will help unlock that doorway to consciousness and to the soul, and then it will pour out in higher creative ways. So we know there are many ways that we use our creativity, and if we use our creativity, say for family or enjoyment, there's nothing wrong with that. We have to have a personality life. But as we know, when we get on the path, we start using it for higher purposes. And my experience of Eva to date is that she is a beautiful user of her creative energy, and especially she radiates a lot of love. She really is Neptunian and Jupiter, and she's very healing. Here we have Chiron, the healing asteroid, and the Sun and Mercury, and I'm getting to those, but her soul has incorporated the Chiron in it as a healer, starting to really utilize the personality. It's becoming purified and pouring out as the messenger. In stelliums, I like to read from the left to the right. And so the ultimate goal, I think, in this little stellium is to be a messenger for the soul and a messenger for the master and the messenger of wisdom.
And just to complement that, part of the problem could be for you the tendency to simply become buried in form, so to speak. You have the planet Venus, which governs all these planets because it's the ruler of Libra. You have the planet Venus here in the sign of Virgo, and Venus' position in the sign of Virgo is traditionally somewhat critical in the sense that it basically falls in the sign of Virgo, and that is symbolic of the soul, because the Venus is the soul, and the fall of the soul into generation and into form. And in the early days, we know that when the soul enters into incarnation, it is buried under the form, and it cannot let its light and its love shine through in the early days. So this burial of the soul in Virgo and in the 4th house, which is the lowest house, which is also the graveyard, so to speak, is the challenge that you have to confront in your life. You must work at this penetration of the soul light and the soul love through the form in different ways.
Okay. I am focusing again on the triangle. The triangle of the 4th ray. We see the axis here, Scorpio, Taurus and Sagittarius, and we see empty, no planets. It doesn't mean that these energies don't work, but they are not particularly emphasize. We have to access them through the rulers, obviously, but we have no time to go in that direction. So what I am going to focus is following Leonie emphasis on the Neptune, which is the esoteric ruler of ascendant. I am looking now at the moon, which is the exoteric ruler of ascendant, and it's the planet which carries the fourth ray. And moon represents the form, the personality as a whole, and it's in Capricorn. And the moon is squaring the Neptune, so we have a square of a conflict and tension and stress between the rulers of the ascending sign, which is the soul purpose. So this is a very important aspect, moon square Neptune, carrying the theme that Neptune is one of the rulers of the Buddhic plane and of the intuition. So this square has to be resolved and worked on, because the moon is not only that it carries the fourth ray and it's the exoteric ruler of the ascendant, but it's also the blockage towards the soul purpose and soul progress, and it's the past life habits carrying over, and it's conjuncting the South Node, which is another indication of a powerful focus upon the form in previous incarnations. So this is as a blockage and a conflict to accessing the not only the soul energy, higher energy as a ruler, esoteric ruler, but also to the Buddhi. So this I see as a major working energy. What would you say, Eva? How you identify this?
Yeah, basically that's what I was saying before. I almost feel, because the qualities of my personality I happen to think are good qualities, there's identification with that. You know, there's identification instead of being more fully identified as a soul. Not to say that soul isn't part of my life, but what I'm thinking that is a problem there is that there is still too much personality ID.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But are you aware, I mean, you are astrologer, are you aware of this square and of the conflict or the stressful? You know, when we're looking at the squares, we tend to look now what is the way out, you know, what is the resolving, harmonizing energy to resolve this square. And so we tend to look at, you know, at some either trine or sextile from this square, you see.
Okay.
So as a way out, or working, what kind of energy are we going to work with? And we see a trine to going, is it the trine? I'm not seeing it from
Yes.
Uranus.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so and Uranus is the esoteric ruler of your whole Libra planets, you see, which also I have emphasized that Libra is very much related to the fourth ray energy, you see. So that's what I was going to say, that even you have the triangle empty, Libra is substituting the absence of the fourth ray with its power, you see. And so that's where is the fourth ray energy coming from, and the harmonizing aspect with a very impersonal energy, the soul energy of the Uranus, you know, it's lifting, it's the way out of resolution of this square.
Okay, thank you.
We're now, we have 6 minutes or so before lunch. So we have a choice here. We could start someone if you'd like and finish after lunch, or
We don't start.
yeah, let's do that. Beauty. Okay, who's next?
What? Uta Gabay. Okay. I was focusing in my meditation on Neptune, on the ascendant, and on this conflict between my tendency to merge and to embrace, and on the other hand to wield the sword, wield this Scorpio energy. My image was a twofold image. I saw the Christ figure in Rio, the redeeming Christ, that received then into his right hand a sword, and bringing the sword down very slowly and precisely. That was for me the image that was reconciling the two, still being the redeeming, the second ray energy, but having this sword not as the warrior that kills, but more like a surgeon that precisely hits a point, more in a fifth ray way. Okay, and the question, I don't know if that is appropriate for here, but my main question was this is, how much should I focus my energies to come all the way down into physical expression? How physical should I get with my service? Okay.
Were there any keywords of power coming through this symbol?
Yeah, the word, the mantra that I got is wielding precisely the sword of the will to love.
Okay.
This is live. Let's go. Hi, everybody. Webinar folk, welcome back. It is 1:32 Mountain Standard Time here in Arizona, and we are continuing our work together, looking at astrological charts from the angle of uniting soul and personality, dealing with major frictions between these two types of impulse. We have a group of 3 astrologers which are interpreting each chart, and you will hear their voices, but you probably will not see them. Just concentrate on the chart and learn what you can. Okay, thanks for being with us, webinarians.
Okay. I'm here. Uta, could you repeat me, the word of power for your meditation?
Precisely sword of the will to learn.
One more time.
Wielding precisely the sword of the will to love.
And when you said that your main question was?
My main question was how deep, how much into the physical expression should my service go?
Thank you. I am going to go through the theme of the conference, which is the fourth ray triangle. And what we see here is that you have a Scorpio rising with the two planets in Scorpio, and we have a Taurus with the Mars in Taurus, and we have a Sagittarius which is not carrying any planets. But this is a very powerful axis of the fourth ray influence. Okay? And when I am focusing on, you have number of T-squares here, even a grand cross, right? So I am going to focus on this T-square here between the two signs which carry the fourth ray, and this conjunction here, Chiron and Venus in Aquarius, which is actually conjuncting the IC, which is the angle of the fourth house. Now we cannot eliminate from this T-square somehow the moon, which is right on the angle here, on these angles, okay? Dharma, MC, and IC, which is the grounding, rooting, foundation, and also ashram. And also you ask about the physical plane service. So the fourth house, being ruled by the moon, is very much involved in the physical service, and particularly in relation to the ashram. The service you are doing is related to the ashram which you are related to, and the master you are related to. So that's why I am looking at that moon, which is conjuncting the Dharma, you know, which is the service in relation. And the fourth house normally also is involved in the national karma, national identity, and also the mass consciousness, you know, the people, the humanity as a whole, you see? So, I mean, the whole Grand Cross is involved in this, but why I am, maybe my two other colleagues here will pick up on some other things, but why I am focusing on this, because I am focusing on the angles of the fourth ray energy, which is involved in here, and Mars is the esoteric ruler of your ascendant, and it's involved in this T-square to the, you know, grounding of your service on a physical plane, and the identification of that ashram in line with the ashramic service. Okay? And Jupiter, while I am also picking up this T-square, because Jupiter Mars are the planets on of relationships, also various relationships, and I see this your relationship to ashram has to be more identified, and the conflict of the fourth ray is playing a part. You know, it's very, your chart generally carries a lot of stress, a lot of conflicts in your life to resolve it, okay? But for a disciple, it's an ideal chart. It's an ideal chart for a disciple, you know. The opportunity, you know, through struggle to grow and to serve, okay? So also, I would say the Jewish identity is very much, you know, connected with all this, what I'm talking about here. You cannot dissociate it because, you know, Saturn in Capricorn, it's the planet which is very much related to this issue, you know. So one would have to look at the whole chart basically to answer your question, what you're asking, but I am focusing just on this. And you know, this conjunction of the Chiron with Venus here, which we can consider Venus again on a number of levels, but it is the soul. It is the soul of the country, in a way, okay? And a Chiron, it's the healer, it's the guide, but it's also energy which need to be corrected somewhere, okay? In order to release that stress and to anchor and identify what is to think about what is my service in relation to the ashram particularly, because that gives you, that answer a lot of your question, you know, how to anchor that service upon the physical plane. See? Have you been thinking along these lines yourself?
Yes, very much. And I know all about of this anchoring of the ashramic purpose. What is left for me is to know if I should go to all this big trouble of having a physical center, you know, how much to bring it down into physical reality. We are doing our work from my home, for example,
Yeah.
or not to have this more stress by holding an actual physical center with all the financial things involved in all this.
Yes, well,
So-
you see the fourth house there, the IC, you know, you need to put a roots somewhere
Okay.
to stabilize the center upon the physical plane. It is important, but on the higher level, it's the rooting yourself within the ashramic service.
Can I just add to that, Uta? Those planets, Mars and Venus, are in cardinal houses which are related to the physical plane. And they're very important, so it accentuates everything that Elena said. Like that. And Mars rules physical nature as well, and has a relationship with the physical plane. And they're in cardinal houses, and Venus, the solar angel, is in that fourth house, the ashram. And I would say that the answer, I think, from Elena and myself, I'm not sure about our compatriot, is yes. Yeah, put it right down, physical plane. Physical plane.
You have Scorpio rising, and Scorpio is a triple sign, and it always deals with all aspects of the personality, mental, astral, and physical etheric. So it does have to do with anchoring in very concrete physical. The fact that you have the hierarchical ruler of the bottom of the chart at the very most top of the chart is telling you that you have to bring it all down into concrete physical manifestation. It's very interesting to see also the position of Pluto in your chart, having in mind what you said in terms of the mantra from the meditation, in terms of, should we say, the sword which, well, could you say that again, please? wielding precisely the sword of the will to love. Well, Pluto is that sword, and Virgo is that precision of discernment and discrimination which is required to surgically pull off this project, so to speak. And it is, after all, the esoteric co-ruler of your horoscope, together with Mars here. So that's very important for you to wield that sword in this.
And Uranus is with the moon, spiritual center and a new advanced type of esoteric center.
So it's correct, Leah?
Thank you. The symbol that I received to resolve the conflict between soul and personality was, at first I thought the infinity symbol, but then it turned into the Dorje, and that then turned and became aligned from the horizontal to the vertical, and light first in small seed points and then turning into petals of the lotus came forth, and on the end of the Dorje was the jewel in the lotus with the petals, and the words were steadfast wisdom. So I relate that specifically to that square between sun and moon.
Okay, so let's have a look at the chart here. Leo rising, Sun in Sagittarius, Moon in Pisces. Yes, the Sun in Sag is square that Moon in Pisces, and those are two signs that actually have a very esoteric relationship to each other. It talks about the disciple in Sagittarius who eventually becomes the savior in Pisces. So this is part of your journey to really come into the Christ energy more and more in your life. You got Leo rising, and you have the North Node and Pluto in conjunction with your ascendant there. And both of those two energies are quite abrupt in many ways, and may have, should we say, disrupted your life in certain ways as you've gone. But if you can own those energies, they will be great allies to you, in the sense that you can break through any obstacles on your path to, should we say, becoming a savior in your life. Pluto is a necessary planet for the Piscean energy and for the Christ energy. It is cooperating with the Neptunian energy, which is more working in terms of dissolution and dissolving. But that may take a lot of time sometimes, and you cannot wait that long always. And then you have to bring in Pluto to plant the dynamite, so to speak, and then get rid of the major obstacles, the more crystallized obstacles, with the aid of that first ray energy. And after Pluto's done that work, then Neptune can come in and do its dissolution work. So you have to, in your life, work with both of those energies to become successful, both Neptune, both Pluto, both first ray and second ray.
The planet that I had associated with the symbol was Uranus, and I was thinking will, spiritual.
Yeah, Uranus is the synthesizing planet on the first ray. So in your horoscope you have Pluto in the first house, conjunct the ascendant. Then in the other angular house, the 10th house, you have Uranus, which is a synthesizing planet on the first ray. So you have a very strong astrological indication that you need to embody the energies of the first ray of will and power in this lifetime to become successful and to live the life of the wise, to become a Buddha. You have to have this immovability of the first ray built into yourself, which makes you heavy in the wisdom, so to speak. Uranus is in itself the agent of change in so many ways, and having it in the 10th house together with the Earth and Mars as well make you an agent of change with respect to the world and to other people. This is basically your function to be a catalyst with respect to other people and circumstances in their lives.
I was thinking when you spoke about the Doge symbol, where could that be? And I intuitively felt it was a sort of Gemini with the two, you know, like the, and we know the Doge is symbolic of the Ajna center, which at its lowest has two petals. And so it really ties up with what was said here. And with Uranus in there and opposite the Sun, is it? No, it's not quite. But yes, it is.
Yes,
Uranus is
And it
opposite.
really ties in what I like to say, and I think I'm going to concentrate on the Sabian symbols and for the esoteric ruler of the ascendant. And there is a real Christ theme to this chart, and with that sun down there, I believe it's channeling Neptune energy. And so we have the Christ there as your primary esoteric ruler and as the soul, saying, you know, this is, we are pointing the way down here into your home life and cleaning that up, but also the spiritual ashram. And the Sabian symbol for the 30th degree of Sagittarius is beautiful. The Pope blessing the faithful. And the keynote is the need to pay homage to traditional values upon which the invisible community of the spirit is built. So that fits in perfectly with your chart, because they're having to pay the fourth house's traditional values, and that, but there is the spiritual community up there in the 10th house and the house of the master's work. I think that's really a powerful symbol for what you know anyway and what you're doing in your life, in your spiritual work.
Okay, I will continue with the theme which has been set. First, looking at the triangle of the fourth ray, we have empty axis of the fourth ray, Taurus, Scorpio, but we have a powerful Sagittarian energy, which is the sign of the vision, of the search for the truth, the imaginative faculty, and you know, aiming the one-pointed focus towards the goal here. That is emphasized here with that fourth ray Sagittarian energy, considering that the most important planet of your chart, which is the Sun, as the ruler of on all three levels of your ascendant, is in Sagittarius. So, and the planet which carries the fourth ray, it's in Sagittarius. So the fourth ray is very much emphasized through the Sagittarian energy here. Okay. Now, this square, which you know you were asking about, and which my colleagues already were talking about, you see what I am seeing here. That for me it is very interesting, the ruler of the Sagittarian, which is the Earth. And you see, that's why both of them were already concentrating on that Uranus. but there is a triple conjunction here with that esoteric ruler of that Sagittarian energy in Gemini here, in a 10th house. And, you know, it is actually T square with the moon, sun, moon, and the triple conjunction here. So, it is a tension here. We're talking about the conflict and tension of the fourth ray in some aspect, considering the moon is also the transmitter of the fourth ray, okay, in Pisces. But what, you know, when we try to resolve this, conflict here of the T square, you know, I see the way out through this sextile of that conjunction to the Pluto node conjunction, and in a way touching the degree of your ascendant. And as already Nicholas focused on that Pluto, because it's the esoteric and hierarchical ruler of Pisces, you see. So it is resolving, that is the resolving energy, not only of this aspect, but of the whole T square in a way, you see. Because it is in conjunction, the North Node always point where we should be going, okay? And in relation to the soul purpose, it's renunciation, it's sacrifice. You know, with the Piscean energy and Pluto, sacrifice and regenerate your identity, not only with Leo, but with the first house of identity, in order to fulfill that soul purpose. So it's very, how would I say, relinquishment, sacrifice, saviorship. All these keynotes are coming to my mind, which have been already pointed by Leonie here. That's why I carried the theme, more or less what it has been said, but seeing, the resolution of these conflicting energies here through this Pluto energy in Leo. But as I say, there are number of the lower ego issues which need to be transformed. That's why I say the identity has to reach, focus, stabilize in the soul identity as a first step.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Thank you.
State your name, please.
My name is Tom Withy, and the friction or conflict I was having between my personality and soul that was coming to light was I'm very organized in terms of objects and space, but I'm not organized when it comes to time and scheduling of time structure. It's probably because of my Uranian Aquarian nature. And in the meditation, the dynamic symbol I was getting was that of ocean waves coming to the shore, meaning that I wanted to be regular about doing work. I tend to be spontaneous, and then I do a huge marathon, but it was coming to light that I really need to be more sattvic, regular, and have periods of rest in between. So the symbol that was coming, first I was getting an image of like rhythm, like notes on a score that would be rhythmic. But then although I was resisting it, I was getting Saturn, which is, you know, kind of the ruler of time, and structure as being the symbol I should be meditating on for putting how I work in time in place.
What was the symbol?
Saturn.
Saturn.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at your chart, Tom, and going to start with the esoteric ruler of the chart, which is Venus, as esoteric ruler of your Gemini center, ascendant sign, the soul purpose point. And I note that it is up there in Aquarius, in the 9th house, but it's really closely, it's conjunct the midheaven. It's conjunct the midheaven, so it's really also can be read in the 10th house.
It's conjunct the sun, exactly.
Is it? Yeah.
4 minutes of on.
In the midheaven. So that's a really, really super symbol of potential master's work and being involved and being very upfront and presenting yourself, making yourself available to present yourself. And it's in Aquarius, which is a really grounded, it's a fixed sign. I know it's a mental sign, but it will help you ground your energy, which will help the Gemini tendency, which always wants to jump around and that. So I let my colleagues look for other grounding factors in your chart, because I'll just concentrate on the Sabian symbol for Venus, and it's and I'll just get that up shortly. And it's 10 degrees of Aquarius. You read a little bit further here. And it's a man who had for a time become the embodiment of a popular ideal is made to realize that as a person he is not this ideal, and the keynote, the need to deal with human beings as persons rather than as screens upon which one projects one's dream and ideal. I think that's really powerful, and I wondered if that meant anything to you.
Yeah, I tend to be very idealistic, and being an Aquarian, I do tend to be personal and even in my own life sometimes.
I see. Yeah. And the other thing about that is the tendency to project your ideals onto others rather than going at the lower level, rather than accepting people's ideals and where they're coming from. Do you identify with that? Okay, so there we have up there then needing to work with that and resolve that. So we've got some pretty powerful squares from Venus. From what squares to Venus to Saturn? So there we have Saturn certainly wants to help you ground that. Read on the lower level as Venus as being used by the ego. There is the ego trying to put itself up there and to take the glory and to stand in glory. However, Saturn won't let you get away with that for long. If your motives aren't pure and if they're not inclusive, then there will be probably health problems will be one of the factors that will pull you down and force you to reassess your values. Also, your co-workers, if you start to project your stuff onto co-workers, they're not going to be very happy. Mm-hmm. And you'll have managers and supervisors and everyone who's trying to sort you out and put you in a box and that. So it can be quite difficult, and in one sense you could for a while feel very, very unloved because of that aspect. And there is a karmic aspect to that. Saturn is a lord of karma. Venus on all levels is love. There are other symbols of love, but she very much is love. So I see the underlying psychological problem with this one is a feeling of being unlovable. And you are needing to really do your spiritual work, do your meditation work, and come along to groups like this and practice being inclusive. If you're not already, sorry, I don't know you, Tom, but and you'll be in this process somewhere, I know.
But just endeavour to keep working like that, and you will find you will start to become magnetic, and you will start to become more inclusive as you mix with people who understand you on an esoteric level, and you will find the love that you really, really are needing.
Well, Tom, I think you mentioned part of the challenge that you are facing in this life in terms of, if we look at it in the horoscope here, we see that your Sun, Mercury, and Venus are all in Aquarius. Aquarius is a sign which has a lot to do with the etheric aspect of our own nature, as does Gemini, should we say, the etheric double. These two signs are preeminently the two signs that link us up with the etheric body. And on a higher level, with the greater etheric, should we say, beginning with the Buddhic plane. But first, we have to take care of and handle our own etheric vehicle. And that's where you have one of the challenges that you mentioned. The Sun here in Aquarius is disposited by Uranus, found down here in Cancer, together with the South Node. The South Node is ever a dissipating energy, which gives a dissolution. So your ability to concentrate, focus, and hold the life forces and the vital forces is here indicated to be dissipated in your life, and hence you lose the power, the vitality that you need to produce what you're supposed to be doing. It is an etheric problem, but it is made worse by the fact that it's in the third house here, which is relating to the lower mind, which stimulates and feeds with the great activity found in your mind, helps to bring about this dissipation of your energies. So that you have to address in your life to gather the strength you need to really pull through, to be able to penetrate and go deeper, and thus become a true force to be reckoned with, and an instrument of service that can really hold the energies down here on the concrete planes. And yes, it does then relate to the fact that Venus is your esoteric ruler. It is in the sign of Aquarius, which on the higher levels should link you with the circulatory flow of the whole planet. Become a knower of cycles, because that is what Aquarius can assist us in becoming. And then the square to Saturn, well, you said it yourself, Saturn is the Lord of Time. And it gives you structure, it gives you discipline, it gives you order and organization. And these are keywords and keynotes that you probably know will benefit you in gathering strength, so to speak, in your life. Yes.
Okay, carrying with my theme, looking at the triangle of the fourth ray, we have a strong Scorpio emphasized, particularly with the Mars, the esoteric ruler, in its own sign of Scorpio, together with the Saturn there, and the sign of Sagittarius with the Moon in there. My question would be, do you think you have a fourth ray in this life somewhere?
Yes.
Yes. Because I feel that, I don't know to what extent you're working with this energy, because you have also a very powerful Sagittarian house, which is adding to that Sagittarian energy here, because Sagittarius carries 3 rays through it, which is the 4, 5, and 6. And I feel for you, it's particularly the 4th and 6th ray, I would say, with the vision, with the imagination, with the creativity, emphasize here. But you see, where I see the moon, it's an energy also of a 4th ray in a 4th ray sign. So there is a powerful 4th ray focus, and that's why I thought, that ray could be manifesting in you. That's why I wanted to confirm from you that. How do you see it?
I do see that I was involved in School of the Arts at UCLA and then radio.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And but the fourth ray is also the Buddhic energy. It's the bridging energy, which is very important for you. Because you have such a busy mind. You have extremely busy mind. Jupiter in Gemini in the first house, and then you have a Mercury square Mars. That again, make the mind very active. But this square here, I see as the most stressful and most critical, conflicting energy in stabilization and focusing of the mind.
Yes. I'm scattered pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of my difficulties.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just say something quickly. I've looked at your progress chart because of the lack of Earth in there, and I wondered where it was. And you have a great opportunity now because Progress Moon is 10 degrees in Capricorn. You've got 20 more months in that to take advantage of that. And it's your 8th house of transformation. So really working hard on your spiritual disciplines and grounding your practices is really important. And in the solar arc directions, you have Saturn and Mars in Capricorn spanning your 8th house and 9th, transformation in the spiritual path and teaching. So there, your message is this is where you can really ground it in the master's work, which Capricorn is associated with. And I think that's really promising, and that's where obviously you are focusing. So keep on with what you're doing.
Thank you. Is that correct?
Yes. All right. The symbol that came was Uranus, and the god Uranus being the Antakarana, building, the Egyptian symbol of the god bridging the day and night in the sky. And the word of power is actually a sentence. It's the fox is a wolf is a wolf who smells the flowers. And that came after a powerful dream that I had about a wolf and a fox playing together in my house and bringing me great pleasure. Perhaps it relates to my mission for healthy people and a healthy planet in my new career with water and working with the public and teaching.
Okay. What was the word of power?
The fox is a wolf who smells the flowers.
But, okay.
It may be teaching me to slow down.
What, in your own words, have you got any word or sentence in relation to that yourself? How did you translate that yourself? What did it tell you, that symbol, yourself?
It's talking to me about my close relationship with nature,
right,
and the deep joy that it brings me, my advocacy for the environment, and also, as I said, perhaps it's teaching me to slow down, which is very difficult for me.
Okay. And when you were talking about one particular stressful aspect, which one was it?
It was Mars, what was it? Mars moon.
Mars square moon,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, where are we? Again, I start you know, just checking how is the fourth ray triangle represented in your chart, and that we have Scorpio, Taurus, and Sagittarius. The only planet which we see in this fourth ray triangle, it's the Chiron. And Chiron, it's in T-square here, between, I don't see it quite, between the conjunction of the Mercury, Saturn, and, because I am not seeing it, and also the Earth here.
Chiron, you mean?
Yeah,
No, it's probably square to the midheaven.
to the midheaven. Okay, so what I am focusing here on is the Mercury, which carries also the fourth ray to the Chiron. Do you have a fourth ray, you think, in this life?
Absolutely.
Yes, because you know, you have Moon, which is also carrier of the fourth ray. You mentioned that square to the Mars. This is a very, very stressful aspect because, again, they are the lunar lords, and both planets represent a degree of fighting stress and conflict, you see. But Mercury, it's, you know, I'm going a little bit further with this now because it's involved also with this square between the Chiron, Mercury square here, you see. So I see the working of the fourth ray, particularly in, how would I say, not an easy, you know, in harmonious way. There is a lot of stress on that energy, how to express it in harmonizing, you know, your environment, and that's why maybe there is constant change, almost running away from the stressful situations whenever that energy could be expressed. And I don't know if you can identify with this.
Well, yes, I feel extremely stressed a lot lately, and going towards adrenal exhaustion, I feel.
Because, you know, it's sometimes it can be, how would I say, if the creative energy of that fourth ray is not expressed in your life, it is producing extreme stress, and it's not easy to handle, you see. So creative expression for in your life, it's very important that, you know, in some form, either artistic expression or creative living expression is very important to release this energy. If it is not, then, you know, it is producing that stressful situations.
As you know, I've been an artist all my life, and I'm now not doing art anymore. I'm going towards that new career I was talking about with water. But I feel that I am a creator in every moment of my life, and that's
Yes.
what I teach people around me.
Yes.
You can be creative in problem solving, in the way you walk, the way you dress. You don't have to be an artist to be creative.
Right. Well, this is what I'm trying to say, that it's important that you use that energy in really living expression in your life, you know, because you have it very powerfully represented.
Thank you.
And just picking up the theme of the water, I noticed that, and the adrenals, Mars is one of the rulers of the adrenals, and it's in the water, it's in Cancer, the water sign. So I'm thinking that you intuitively have picked a career that's going to help you to de-stress, and that's quite a nice use of that. Staying on the theme of working with the esoteric ruler of the ascendant, which is Venus in Virgo in the 4th house,
And I'll just read the Sabian symbol for that, which is 21 degrees Virgo. And it's very interesting, and see if it means anything to you intuitively. A girls' basketball team. Physical training as a means to inculcate the feeling of participating in a collective culture.
Oh, this is amazing. Oh,
What does it mean?
I'm having an emotional moment. This is so powerful. I am working in a team with the water, and we're opening a center. And it is actually in Phoenix, and it is the building that was built by the Phoenix Suns. On the roof of that building is a basketball court, and I had the idea to make it into a community garden and work with people with diabetes with the garden.
I think that's wonderful and a really beautiful manifestation of that Venus and the soul, your soul purpose as well. And it does tie, if we stretch the aspect to Mars to a sextile, it's a little bit larger than what you normally do, but we can do that. And there is the water, and you working physically and working with a team and grounding and being very practical in what you do. Not only will it heal your health, but it's your soul purpose path.
Yeah, well, that's beautiful. Those are powerful symbols indeed. If we just look at your chart, Olivia, we can see that the most elevated planet there is the Earth, and I guess that's kind of symbolic for you, that you hold the Earth high in your life, and you are seeking to lift it up all the time. It kind of supports the whole idea that Venus, your esoteric ruling planet, is in Virgo, which is an earth sign in itself, and which has to do with the whole idea of bringing down the second aspect, the soul aspect, the Christ energy, into the form. And for a long time there it lies hidden, but then eventually it comes forth, and like flowers it will burst forth and come to fruition and bloom. And I guess you're at that time in your life when those flowers are really breaking forth, I believe. It would be interesting to see your progress chart, but we don't have the time for that. I know also, having seen your chart previously, that the whole relation between Jupiter up here in Capricorn in the 8th house and Venus down here is very important to you as well. It has to do with working with the energies of love and wisdom, so as to bring about transformation. That Jupiter is also hidden behind your ascendant, because here is found the constellation of Orion, and that great star Betelgeuse, which is in the armpit of the Orion hunter, is conjunct your ascendant, and it's of a Jupiterian expansive quality, and this seems to be the energy and the quality that you are increasingly working with in your life. It also relates to some of the themes of hunters that I've heard you mention before as well, in relation to the foxes and the wolves, right? But that is the outer aspect of Orion is a hunter, but his more esoteric aspect is as a cosmic Christ. So that's the transformation hidden behind your ascendant, which you yourself have to go through. And that involves very much also the use of your mind, your lower concrete mind, which can be a limitation for you in that process. So you have to check yourself, because you have Mercury, Saturn together. They're in Virgo, and Venus is also in Virgo. That oftentimes limits you in terms of the concrete mind. So you have to overcome that in order to go through the process of transformation into the heart, into the love, into the light, into the wisdom. Thank you.
just a little bit about your progressions. Progress moon is at 2 Cancer, just arriving onto Uranus at 3 degrees. And so it's a period of major change for you and also for your spiritual growth at this time because it's still close. It passed the soul purpose point, the ascendant, about 6 months ago, but you're still in that cycle. And as well as that, progress Venus is at 3 degrees Sagittarius in your 6th house of work, and it's making an inconjunct to Uranus. It's necessary for you to make some changes and cut away, maybe tinker with what you're doing, but there definitely needs to be something cut away to free up that Virgo, maybe something to do with the mental that Nicholas was talking about, your ideas, but there's something that needs to change so more beauty can come through. So in the next few months, just look at yourself and what you're doing and maybe a change in attitude or perception in your mind, but also there could be something physical needing to be done.
Thank you very much.
Does it look right, Kathy? Okay.
Oh, sorry.
I was pondering the glyph of Uranus as what I felt could help me to purify the personality and attain more of an open alignment with this soul and the rising sign, being the esoteric ruler of the rising sign. And I just had some thoughts about 6th and 7th ray energies, which I relate to, and I just thought you could see the symbol of Pisces in Uranus, maybe relating to 6th ray and elevating that 6th ray and then being pierced by that other part of the symbol, which could be, you know, about the 7th ray aiding in the process of elevating the energies, you know, fusing spirit and matter. And so that's basically what I was thinking about.
What was the aspect you were focusing as?
Well, it's basically the Uranus, Moon, Saturn, Neptune square.
Right. So we have a double conjunction there, squaring to each other.
Yeah.
Right. And when you were sort of debating with the group, did you come to yourself to some insight in resolution of this square? Or some new insight of the stressful energy which is created by this aspect?
Well, Philip said something that I hadn't thought of, was a nice aspect of related to this, was that the Moon-Uranus conjunction could relate to having studied esoteric teachings in the past. So that was interesting. I hadn't really thought of that.
But yourself, I'm interested about your own insight.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it a lot over time, so it wasn't anything particularly new that came to me.
Right. Because, you know, if just for the people that they know what we are focusing on, it's this conjunction, Neptune-Saturn in Libra in the first house, squaring the conjunction of Moon and Uranus in Cancer in the 10th house. Now, this is a powerful focus of your energies, you know, in the chart, because we have four planets, and one of them is the esoteric ruler of the chart, Uranus ruling esoterically Libra. You know, Neptune-Saturn conjunction, it's it can be interpreted in from the lowest to the highest energies. It can be very stressful combination in a way, you know, that on the psyche, you know, sometimes very depressing energy, but on a higher level, you know, it is the Buddhi, Neptune, and Saturn bringing the Buddhi in the concrete manifestation on the level of the soul identity here, you know, from the soul going to the Buddhi. So that is one of the more higher and positive channeling or accessing or transforming this energy into the higher level, because it's very much, you know, working on the identity here of the first house, which you cannot escape, is always present there through the life. And so and because it's squaring to the esoteric ruler and the moon, which is the blockage to the soul purpose, you know, it is a very difficult square to resolve, you know, and to lift into the higher energies here. Because
that's why I thought the Uranus could be the clue, you know, the...
Yes, and you have all the three synthesizing planets involved in this square, which is the Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, you see? So on one side, it is very difficult to work with, but it holds a very, very high potential to reach the highest level of those energies. Because we can say that this square can synthesize the whole chart, you know, in its lifting of the energies. Because, you know, there is so many links to the rest of the chart. Maybe my friends here will carry on with this or whatever, but if I'm looking at the triangle of the fourth ray, which is the Taurus, Scorpio, and Sagittarius, which have no planets, but for the information of other people, my question would be, if we have empty signs which carry a particular energy, ray energy, is that ray energy present in the ray makeup? Do you think you have fourth ray?
I've come to the conclusion that I think it was a legacy ray, very strong, because I came in this life feeling very fourth ray, but I feel that I don't have it, perhaps.
Right.
In a sense.
Well, I am asking just that, you know, that checking that if there is no planets in this triangle, that if the person identify, you know, let's say with that fourth ray, because that's what I'm focusing on the fourth ray. But it is interesting that you feel, you know, that it was the legacy ray, because, you know, I don't want to sort of divert very far, but I see, you know, a lot of indication of that, you know, legacy ray of the fourth ray here, you know. So you are not maybe consciously working with it, but you feel a lot of its qualities, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, that is just that, in a way, a little bit of research I am doing, that if this triangle is not represented, that would you say that you are feeling any energies of the Sagittarian, which is the 6th and 5th ray? Neither of the...
sixth ray, yeah.
6th ray, yes.
Sixth ray.
Right. So obviously we would find other signatures for the 6th ray, but, you know, it's interesting that the 4th ray is felt only as a legacy ray here. Okay, that's all
I just like to work with the Sabian symbols and this group of planets up here, And I looked at the Sabian symbol for the sun, and I noticed it's in Leo anyway, and it's about pageantry. And so it really does tell me that here is a personality that came into this life very powerful on one and very willful. On one side there is Mars, on one side there is Pluto, and here we have the South Node. So that's an inheritance from the past life. And then we see right at the beginning of this the esoteric ruler of the chart telling us major change is needed here, a tremendous and just looking, and for the 24th, the 21st degree of Cancer, which Uranus is in, the Sabian symbol and is also very Leo-like. A prima donna is proving her virtuosity during an operatic performance. And of course, there is the starting point of the personality, but the transformation which is required, because that's the end goal of all this work that needs to be done. There's Pluto at the end, and your soul is demanding total transformation in this life of all this energy, this pattern, Leo pattern that you brought through from the past. And the reward, I'm going on with the rest of this, the emotional reward accompanying cultural excellence. So it's really saying there'll be really rewards for you on an emotional level as well as in your spiritual life, and obviously we know this. And also this is very public power up here, so a promise of being very influential in the master's work, and perhaps going on television or your own whatever you do. But that is such a, there's the messenger. Now I'm going to go to 22 of Cancer, which is the moon, what the moon is in, and it's a young woman awaiting a sailboat. And so it's the longing for transcendental happiness. And what that tells me is there's a great yearning for your soul to really bring about this transformation. It's waiting and yearning for you to catch the boat. It's virtually saying, and this is an important thing here. Here's the messenger. Soul wants you to be a messenger. I really love the Sabian symbol. It is for 28 Cancer. An Indian girl introduces her white lover to her assembled tribe. And this is all about being a spiritual interpreter when you tie it in there, because the Indian girl is the mediator and can reconcile to the opposites and take people who have no understanding and has the power and the talent and ability to interpret truths for them so that they are inspired and uplifted.
Well, Kathy, you got Libra rising, and this is a very important Libran life for you, in the sense that Libra ever seeks to establish some kind of an equilibrium, and you can see that even at the midheaven here, which has Venus on that side and Uranus with the moon on the other side, and it cuts just in between Venus and Uranus here, somehow really symbolically telling you the Libran mantram, I choose the way which leads between the two great lines of force. That is for you the mantram to really seek to live by in this lifetime. It seems that you have a past related to extremes. I'm looking here at the South Node in conjunction with Mars. Mars is a planet of extremes, and it's on the 6th ray, which is a ray with a tendency to extremes, which oftentimes one of its names is the hater of forms and the breaker of stones. So, this attitude towards form and matter may in the past have been somewhat unbalanced. This has now to become balanced, and hence Uranus is the planet ruling your horoscope on the 7th ray, which ray ever relates the highest and the lowest together, thus becoming a magician. So it's standing here together with the moon, making sure that you now also have to include the moon and work through the moon which is the form, which is the personality, seeing the personality as a sacred instrument and your own temple through which you have to express the soul, which is found on the other side here. Venus, the soul; Jupiter, the soul; the heart, the love, the wisdom. All of that has to come into balance and find the right, just expression between form and consciousness.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, and that indicates a good opportunity for alignment and integration between the personality's will and the soul purpose.
Also for group work.
Hard time defining a conflict, astrologically speaking, and so I kind of embodied one, which was finally defined as the opposition between Venus and Uranus. So I took that particular opposition as indicative of a place where the soul was being obstructed. And as I meditated on that, I'm familiar with Uranus. I am very well acquainted, consciously with Uranus. Venus, I've not done my homework, and I do not have a strong sense of. So I just held the two symbols, and which then led to infinity sign between the two, an upright infinity sign, and holding at the center, which was an interesting change of pace because usually I hold at the center of a cross. So the resolution came as I held that center as the two symbols, if they reverse, they're symmetrically can come together. Uranus, has the sphere and the cross. And so there's a sphere and the cross of Venus. So they folded into each other, and the two moons, or suns, become wings, because for me that Venus symbol is very much associated with my Ajna center. It's very present there. And that just leads me into the two petals. And that is what those two half moons became, opening up into group life, group being, soul living, enabling group work. As took it all the way up because Michael was leading the meditation, so then we took it from there, and so that enabled group work stand as a human kingdom. As a human kingdom, and circulating to the lower three kingdoms, aware of the North Pole, standing with hierarchy, protecting humanity. Blue stones became a feeling when asked about that. So I wondered about the blue of the sixth ray, which with the red of the first ray of will became the seventh ray. And that was my meditation.
Thank you for that. I'm just going to start with that Mercury, the esoteric ruler of your Aries sun sign, and very important because that's a really powerful stallion, Maria Christina, up there, because we have the two rulers of Aries up there surrounding the major indicators of the conscious and unconscious aspects of your personality. And Mercury, of course, is the only sacred planet in that little stellium of personality forces up there. And this is all in the 11th house of group work. So, and you very much are into group work, so that's going to help your transformation. But I thought you might be interested in the Sabian symbol for 4 degrees of Aquarius. I'll read it, and it's beautiful. You tell me what you think. A Hindu yogi demonstrates his healing powers. And the keynote, the disciplined use of spiritual energies in to restore the natural harmony disturbed by man's inharmonic attempts to transcend nature through mind. What does that mean to you?
I live in the desert. I have long worked with Native American tribes in one way or another. And I am very conscious of healing and anchoring that energy at these very, the dirt, stones, the plants, the environment where we live, the planet.
I think that's a wonderful manifestation of that, and tells us that you're really working with that on the sacred level with that Mercury there. And of course the Indian yogi, will you just translate to the Indian race and people, and you perhaps have been in a past life, because the moon is their past life. I sense perhaps even an Indian healer or shaman of some sort there. But that's just speculative.
Well, a main theme in any chart is that mantra which is given by the rising sign, and the rising sign is Aries here, and the mantra related to that is I come forth, and from the plane of mind I rule, and hence this is ever of importance to you here. And the esoteric ruling planet, as mentioned, is Mercury for the sign Aries, and it stands in Aquarius, but it stands in very close conjunction with your Sun, which is a ruler of this opposite sign of Leo.
By the way, his Sun is exactly what he said.
Okay, so we have another alignment and a possibility for integration of soul purpose at this time as your progressed Sun comes on your ascendant at this time in your life. That's a very special time. Now coming back to the idea of I come forth from the plane of mind I rule, with that Mercury conjunct the Sun, we see the emphasis on focus and concentration, because Leo is the centralizing, focusing energy in the zodiac. So this does indicate for you the importance of being able to achieve focus and concentration as a foundation in your work. You have the planet of Neptune standing in opposition to that ascendant. Now Neptune is confusion, it is nebulous, it is unclarity, and this is something which is very clearly indicated here, that you have to be able to achieve that central point of concentration and build from there. And then that relates to the aspect you were talking about between Venus and Uranus. The south node in Sagittarius can indicate this tendency to, skip the lower needed, required steps and simply to go into the higher ones. But the north node here in Gemini takes you down into the third house, into the mind, into the lower mind, and seeks to tell you that you have to build this clearly as a foundation, because eventually it will come back to you, and the house will fall. The house will fall. So this is what you want to make sure is in place. Then you can come back to the south node on higher level, back to Venus, back into the ajna, and truly see the vision, but have also the instrument to take that vision and work it into manifestation and into form in a much more skillful manner.
Thank you.
Okay. Now starting with the triangle of the fourth ray, we have a Scorpio where are two planets, Jupiter and Chiron, empty Taurus, and Sagittarius with the Venus in south node. Do you feel you are manifesting, working with the fourth ray energy in this life? Personality fourth ray. Okay. Now, you see, I am focusing with this fourth ray, stressful, conflicting energy between the triple conjunction, where is the Mercury, Sun, Mars, involving both rulers of your ascendant, and which is Aries, and this is opposition to the Saturn, Earth in Leo over here, and in T square with the Chiron in Scorpio. Now, what I am picking up through this T square, it's a very stressful, nervous, mental energy, and Aries, because the two rulers are here together with your sun, it's the head. It's the head, stress on the mind, relation, affect on the health, because Mercury ruled the sixth house, and the sun also, which is involved in this triple conjunction, opposition to the Saturn, Earth. So this is, I finding, as the most stressful energy on the nervous system and the mind, which need the balancing, unifying energy of the fourth ray. Do you want to say something to this?
Boy, do I just want to confirm that my super big, heavy health issue in my life has been trigeminal neuralgia, which is nervous, focused from right in the middle of the head.
Right.
Pain. I mean, it's just like health issue. Right there.
Do you find that your mind is difficult to concentrate and focus at times?
Oh, yes, I suppose.
Yeah. Because, I feel...
I can just think and think and think and think.
Yes. I feel that the fourth ray, in its harmonizing aspect, could be part of the resolution of this stressful, because Chiron, is the healer. It's the healer. It's also the wound, you see. And Chiron is also related to Virgo and to Sagittarian, and to both as a guide to Sagittarius, but in its wound or health aspect, it is related to Virgo. So that's why I see this T square with both rulers involved with that sun in relation to the Aries as the most stressful aspect of your chart, which has an effect on that health also.
Beauty.
Could I just finish with a Sabian symbol for 8 degrees where your progress sun is? And I'll speak it to you and take it in and intuit it. We won't speak after. Maybe you want to share it later with us individually. But it's beautiful. It's a large woman's hat with streamers blown by an east wind, protection and spiritual guidance in the development of consciousness.
Thank you very much.
Could I have your name so I can get your chance?
Yeah, let's do the break. Okay. 6 now. That's 10 minutes.
1 hour.
Aren't we supposed to be ready at 4? What did you say?
We are supposed to be finished at what time? Just go.
Okay, bring up the other one.
6 minutes.
Yeah, good. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, my question that I came up was, all right, you got the pencil thing, the marker? Yeah. Is all right, I've got a Pluto-Saturn conjunction in conjunct Sun, Mars, and Vulcan right there. And my question is, okay, the energy basically flows down. And the question was, how do I complete a re-energizing so it flows back up? And then over the last day or so, it was going, oh my goodness, there's Neptune, square that, and sextile that. And the basic thing is that Saturn right now is right on top of Neptune, facilitating that, and Pluto is down here, completely dead in conjunct Saturn. That plus what enabling, helping it, Neptune is sextile, and Uranus is square my Mercury. So that's, and I figured out, okay, we can go up through Neptune and in particular take advantage of the fact that Saturn is sitting on right top of Neptune right now.
Could we get the symbol of your meditation, please? When you were meditating,
there wasn't any symbol per se. It was just visualizing the energy coming down.
right, and not some kind of mantra or word or sentence or any kind of insight from the meditation which you got?
No, it was just how to create the flow of energy back around.
Right. Was when we were discussing in the groups a particular aspect which carries a stress for you? Did you pick any aspect?
That was it.
Which one?
The Pluto Saturn Sun Mars Vulcan. I have a couple others, but I have resolved them over the years and have learned to deal with them and use the energy in a positive way.
Okay. So you wanted for Nicholas to look at the conception chart, is
Right.
that right? So Nicholas will start to look at your conception chart and then we follow on your natal.
Okay.
Okay, well maybe it's easier because we're looking at this one now.
Oh, okay.
So now we have the pattern here.
So
If
do you want me to start
Sure.
and then you do conception or how?
Go.
Well, sure. If you want to say something, or I can say something about this one too, and then we
Okay.
can look at conception.
Okay.
Basically, with the quincunx, like you're talking about here, Pluto, Saturn making a quincunx 150-degree aspect to Sun, Mars, and supposedly to your Vulcan. It is an aspect of incompatible elements, earth and fire in this case. It's an aspect of adjustment or readjustment that you have to go through. And it can be a fairly lengthy process where you have to endure all the way. I see it almost as a Virgo aspect in that Virgo is a sign which has to endure a long process carrying the child within the womb until eventually it produces and births that child. I see a quincunx as one part of a yod, really, and he does have a yod when you involve the node here. I see that as pointing to that which has to be reborn or birthed anew in your life. So the Sun, the Mars, and supposedly Vulcan, all that has to be born in a new way into your life, and not in a way in which it may have been playing a part in earlier lives or in an early series of lives. And supposedly, both Vulcan and Mars are planets of will, and planets of daring in a way, and planets of moving forth towards a destined goal. But the whole idea of beginning to move in the right direction is important here. And when I think about that, I'm thinking about the fixed cross and taking your stand immovably in a certain place, not moving up and down the land any longer in the mutable fashion, but taking your stand in the soul light and in the soul love. And there simply orienting yourself towards a fixed purpose or a fixed goal. And to me, somehow that is what you have to bring into your life, perhaps more distinctly so.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I've been doing, given that you're aware of Sutcliffe, Nicholas, and his work on this was a lot more speculative and assumptive, whereas you know me well enough that I've been very mathematical in how I've been trying to do it. And yeah, that's exactly what I've been doing.
Yeah, and of course it's in Capricorn here, and Mars being the esoteric ruling planet of your rising sign, which is in itself having both Jupiter and Venus next to it, indicates that it's that level of Capricorn which we could call the sea aspect of the goat, because Capricorn is the sea goat. It is the concrete aspect, but it's also the Savior aspect, the Christ aspect, and hence it is the will of the soul which has to come forth here in a more clear manner. It is the appreciation not of so much, not so much engrossment in form per se, but perhaps the appreciation of the law and order and beauty of that form as found in around ourselves and in nature and in the solar system, as you well know, and beyond. So those things, contemplating on those things, is something which is very rewarding for you, and helps to bring about this beauty and this order in your own life eventually, as you seek to work with that and work it into your own life and be inspired by it. Jupiter is so beautifully rising there in your horoscope, pointing the way to the love and the wisdom which should expand in your life here. So the second ray may have a very important position in your life, especially as Mars, the ruling, also the ascendant, stands together with the other second ray point, the Sun. So the second ray is for you the way to go, I would say. You also have Virgo, a second ray sign, on your midheaven here, pointing in that direction as well. Virgo is the sign of that triangle of second ray signs, carrying the most of that energy at this time. So Virgo, Virgo, that is the sign of birthing. So it goes together with the theme of the Yod and the quincunx that you were talking about. Now birthing another level, another Christly dimension of yourself into manifestation. Capricorn is the sign of initiation. It is the sign of birth. So it's right there. It's right there, I would say.
Thank you. Leonie? Or Elena?
Okay. First, I will, just to keep it fresh after Nicholas, with the yacht. It's a finger of God, or core yacht, which is carrying the energies of Saturn, Pluto, to the conjunction of Sun and Mars in Capricorn, making quincunx to the North Node and a sextile back to this conjunction here. Now, what I want to point out here that it is a very transforming structure, and the most important point in this structure for me is the point opposition across in the 8th house here, where is the Earth in Cancer in the 12th degree. This is the resolution point of the yacht, the transformative energy, which is again making actually square back to the Neptune, very important planet, linking the yacht to this Neptune Sun Mars square. You see the relationship. So this square, which you have pointed out before yourself, that as an important square for you in carrying stressful and conflicting energies here, is part of a resolution and transformation of the energies involved in this yacht, particularly through the Earth, which is leading us to Sagittarius, 2nd house, because it's the esoteric ruler of Sagittarius, Earth, right? And where do we find the other point of that yacht? Is in the 2nd house with the Sun and Mars conjunction in Capricorn. So the focal point of resolution and working with all these energies of the yacht and the Neptune, Mars, Sun square is through the 2nd house Sagittarian energy of the Earth in the 8th house. And it's the house of illumination, it's the house of spiritual and material values. It's a relation to the Ajna, which would lead us back to the moon over there, but if we just staying with the complex of these energies, we are linking to the triangle of the 4th ray through the Sagittarian energy, through the powerful Scorpio energies, which is your ascending sign, and your moon sign in Taurus. I would expect for you to work with the 4th ray in this life. Do you hypothesize a 4th ray on some level of your system?
Oh yeah, I'm very aware of that, and a lot of the conflict part of it I have resolved already.
Mm-hmm.
So it's now harmony, getting the harmony part together.
Getting the harmony part, because you know Sagittarius, it's the sign of the vision, you know, creative, creative imagination, and through the Ajna center, you know, I feel, you know, increase of the way towards a resolution of these energies, because you know you have transiting Saturn going, activating all this structure. You see, 12,
right.
10, 12, 12.
Right. And
this is the time for you to resolve, to work on the resolution through the energy of the first of the soul illuminative energy here of the 2nd house, transformation of the values and of the vision.
and the progressed moon is approaching Neptune right now.
All right. Well, there you are.
Leonie, real quick.
No, he's going to be better in the kids section, which is what you want.
That was the second buzzer.
Yeah, and you know, Vulcan is close to your sun, and Mars is there, but the moon does carry the Vulcan energy because it is very potently placed in Taurus, where Vulcan is the ruler. It's staring your ascendant face to face here, so there's some way in which you have to, you know, as you work with Vulcan, have to find the right way to integrate the energy of Vulcan into your life. You know, there's an opposition here. How do you integrate that energy in your life? Have you really solved that yet? And then to top that off, as you know, in your conception chart that you have calculated, we find that the Sun is in the very first degree in Taurus, the sign where Vulcan esoterically governs. So also there, Vulcan comes forth, and the first ray energy is further emphasized with Pluto at the midheaven here. So what does that mean to you? Maybe that's something to meditate upon. I know you have been working with Vulcan, but have you really penetrated deeply into what that energy has for you in store?
Not yet.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay. To be continued then,
Thank you.
David. Okay, thanks.
Yesterday, when we did the first meditation, I envisioned a long, narrow triangle which evolved into a leaf that grew out of the ground but stretched out into the sun. In the meditation today, I imagined a bone, like a human bone, that was radiating a blue light, and the word that came with it was the sound Ama, but I don't know what that means really.
Were there any, and so that words of power, Ama.
The sound was Ama today. Yesterday the word was growth with the leaf.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
What I noticed, and Ginny's got a really interesting chart. It's a the planets are
Splash?
quite well. I'm not sure if it's quite a splash. It looks like a locomotive. Right. If we include the ascendant, it's definitely a splash, and probably you're right. So this is quite an unusual chart, and so your great challenge, Ginny, in your life is to either you've got a choice. It either be a master of nothing, or to actually learn to coordinate your very many talents and skills and use them with precision, with masterly precision. So that's just something I just would like to mention up top. From what I got from your the symbols you were talking about, the mention of the sun was there, and of course the sun is the symbol of the personality, and it's exactly opposite your soul. You could say there's your soul or angel standing there in a sense, or the doorway to it. And so there's really is work to be done on this, and your symbol tells me that you are transforming it, and you did share with me before that the work that you were doing, esoteric astrology, and that. So that is something that you have done, but you were born with that, of course, and so that's a really, really positive thing for you. And the interesting thing, of course, is that the esoteric ruler of the chart is the Earth, and it is also conjunct the ascendant. And we have Chiron, the healing asteroid, there as well. So for you, the path of discipleship was certainly for you. We have Sagittarius, which is the early stages of the path of discipleship, needing to get focus and direction and overcome that instability that we get from the Sun in Gemini, and coordinate your forces so you don't waste it and become a master of nothing at the end of your life. And I know you've risen above that. But that is just such a dynamic coordinate yourself, ground yourself, work in groups. The esoteric meaning of the earth is group work, expansion of consciousness through group work. So it really is all about the development of soul consciousness by working in a group and being a healer as well. It is quite possible that in a previous life you have been a healer anyway, and so drawing on that again or taking it to another level, possibly through esoteric psychology and astrology. But I would just like to read the Sabian symbols for the 14th degree of Sagittarius and the 18th degree. So I'll talk about the 18th degree of Sagittarius, and it's really interesting. And it's children playing on the beach, their heads protected by sunbonnets. And the keynote for it is the protection society affords as yet immature children begin to deal with the powerful energies of their unconscious nature. And I don't know whether that means anything for you. It really is quite a deep one. And I don't know whether you got any intuition there, but there's something about looking at your soul purpose ultimately is to be dealing with either children in a exoteric sense or young souls on that. And I know that you are what was your career again? Just tell us that you're in now.
Well, I've been a mundane astrologer for 36 years, but lately I'm starting to have spiritual mentoring clients.
That's right, spiritual meaning. There we get Sagittarius like that, and there are the young souls coming to you and doing work. So you can, I would suggest that you can comfortably, say, yeah, I'm on my soul path, I'm manifesting this. But this 14 degree, which is the ultimate, gives a little bit more information. It's just slightly into the 12th house, the private house. So doing work behind the scenes with your clients is an important thing to help their transformational purpose. It just says, just keep some of your work private when you work with them, and I know that's part of that. And that's really important for you to help them expand their consciousness and to ground themselves. They will trust you. You can take them in private and work with them privately, and they will trust you. And here's the Sabian symbol for 14 degrees Sagittarius, and I'll let you ponder that one, and perhaps later, if you want, you can ask me any of us our opinion, because it's quite beautiful. The Great Pyramid and the Sphinx, that's the image. The Great Pyramid and the Sphinx. There's a Sabian symbol for the manifestation of your soul purpose in a practical way. And the keynote here is the enduring power of occult knowledge and of its custodians, seed men of a previous cycle of existence. So what it's suggesting is you are coming in from a past life to complete something, some work that you began before, and that you are to be a custodian of the spiritual development of others, and that's what you're doing.
Well, Jeannie, I think when we look at your horoscope, your sun in Gemini is disposited by that Mercury in Taurus in the 5th house, and that probably has been very useful for you in your work with astrology and clients. Probably it has led you to work with quite mundane matters, dealing with personality issues, and, well, it only goes so far, let's put it that way. It has, however, developed your own mind in the sense that it may have stabilized and stabilized your mind, and you can now hold it steady in the light, Mercury in Taurus, which is a foundation for further work. And what may that further work be? Well, that relates to the ascendant, which is the future for you, and the Earth, which is the esoteric ruling planet there, carries on that which was established by Mercury in Taurus in terms of stability. The Earth is the foundation. It is the stability which you need then as an archer to, first of all, take your aim and then hold steady until you're able to release the arrow. Now, the holding steady and should at least be in place now. I don't know if you have taken aim fully yet and really know where you want to be going with things. And even if you know that, maybe you haven't yet released the arrow in your life. Because it takes you into the 12th house, which is an obscure house where you don't really know very clearly where you may be going. It is a house where you have to use the intuition eventually, and that is very clearly indicated in terms of your midheaven here, where two factors connected very, very much to the intuition are found: the planet Neptune and the South Node, or Ketu, as it's known as. Both of those are very strongly indicating a direction of the intuitive Buddhic field and its development in your life. But that is then built upon the steadiness of the mind, which is first of all put in place in your case here. So the question is, have you identified your goal, and are you ready to release the arrow?
Well, I have to say that there was an important turning point for me last January, and it was more than symbolic. And since that time, I started getting one after the other mentoring clients, and I feel like I was born to do that work. It's quite satisfying, and it takes me beyond myself, but in some ways, it feels like I'm extending all my studies out into the world through these other people.
And you got the global, expansive Sagittarius rising, so that's just right, I feel.
Okay. Now, as always, I am trying to establish the fourth ray triangle, which is the Sagittarius, powerful with your rising sign, and the Earth ruler in Sagittarius with the Chiron, the Taurian energy of Venus and Mercury, powerful, but with empty Scorpio. I would imagine that the fourth ray must be working to some extent in your life. Are you recognizing the fourth ray?
Primarily, I experienced that on the emotional level with the moon opposite Pluto.
Right, but in your ray makeup, do you feel you have a fourth ray somewhere working on some level?
On the emotional level.
On emotional level. That's an unusual placement, you know, for the fourth ray. My sort of first suggestion would be to think about it.
Think of the sixth ray.
Sorry?
Think of the sixth ray.
Yes, to think of the sixth ray more, because I feel the another ray which is very powerful in use is the sixth ray. So you have more the 2-4-6 line energies in your makeup. That is my first impression through this chart. That's why my advice would be to more work with the sixth ray on the astral body than on the fourth ray, and try to think to put the fourth ray either on the mind or on the personality, okay? Because the fourth ray is there, very powerful. Now, what I want to say is that you have the Sagittarian energy, which is the sign of the seer, of the vision, somebody who is searching for the truth and seeing the future. You are the guide. You can be a guide to others, because Chiron is not only the healer, but it's also the guide. That's why, you know, you can be the guide for others, as, you know, already has been said. It's very, very clearly emphasized. And you have also Sagittarian house, very powerful. The Sagittarian energy, which is carrying not only the fourth ray, but also the sixth ray and the fifth ray, you see. So I suggest you, in this life, the sole purpose it's to work on one-pointed focus, a mental one-pointed focus of the vision towards a goal, and working more on subjective level with that esoteric rule of the 12th house. On subjective level, when I say on a soul level, you know?
Can I just quickly say that Neptune's up there in your house of career, and often that people are very confused about their spiritual career or their work generally, and it's retrograde, so you may never have manifested your spiritual work. However, solar arc Neptune is now conjuncting your Earth, like this, and this is what's triggered it all. It's come down your life, throughout your life and all your growth. Now is the time. And it's going to take 4 years to cross the ascendant, and then 2 more years to cross Chiron. You've got the most wonderful period of years for growth and searching, as I was saying, as Neptune crosses over you. You're coming into your spiritual destiny and doing your Father's work.
Thank you very much.
What number? 2 of them. Which one? Is that okay?
Sorry. A very unusual name you have. It's Irving. Irving.
Then,
Irvin starts with this.
okay.
Okay, Irvin, would you tell us something about your symbol of the meditation, some mantra, some word, some aspect, stressful aspect you've been working with?
Well, my whole life is stressful.
What did you get in this morning meditation?
Okay, I really didn't meditate. I wasn't here this morning, but I have a question.
Yes.
About my rising sign and
what
the
would,
Aquarius.
What would be the question?
How to work with that, with the my moon and my sun in Aquarius.
Yes, but
It's
what?
always been something I've wondered about.
Yes, but what would be the question specifically which you would like to know?
Emotional, pick up the emotions, focus the mind more in
Right.
the head,
Uh-huh.
the light.
Right. Well, I will start looking at that fourth ray triangle first of all, which is Scorpio, which is your rising sign, a Taurus, which carries a powerful conjunction here, Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus, and Sagittarian energy, which is the Mars placement there, a very significant placement because Mars is the esoteric ruler of your chart. Very important planet. So you have a powerful fourth ray triangle. Do you feel you are working with the fourth ray of harmony through conflict?
I think I haven't worked enough with it, but I think I am.
You think you
I
are?
think I am.
Yes. On any specific level? On the mental level? On the personality level?
with the work, with the teachings and
Are
the
you-
groups, and
Are you teaching?
that's
Yes.
something not yet.
Okay. Right. So, because it is important that you do work with the force ray because you have it very powerfully represented in your chart, you know, and the way, you know, we have to always resolve some kind of conflict in our lives to achieve harmony, you know. There is no other way, you know, to achieve harmony only through pain, struggle, and stress. Okay? So, how do you identify with that?
Yes, I think that level of being around teachers and working with groups, I think that has taken the edge off somewhat.
Yes, because you see, the emphasis with that Mars in Sagittarius, it's in the second house, which is the Taurian house. You know, it's picking up in all this Taurian energy here in seventh house. It's a relationship issues, you know, and then it's a values issues, material values and spiritual values. It's the house of illumination, okay? With the Sagittarian energy, you know, again, it's the sign of vision, direction towards a goal, towards the illuminating energy first of the soul, and then towards the intuition. So on which level would you say you are working with that energy?
I think on many levels.
On many levels.
A little bit here, a little bit there. Need more focus with.
You need to have a one-pointed focus of the mind, the concentration of the mind in order to work with that energy. You see. Do you feel you have some kind of difficulty in concentrating of the mind?
Not when I find something.
Sorry?
Not when until I find something that I love to do.
Until
with this teaching.
With this teaching.
Yeah.
Right. Because you know, you in your chart you have a Grand Cross. Look, Grand Cross and opposition. It's a very powerful energies, not an easy energies, but you have also, you know, a Grand Trine here. Look, you have a kite, almost a kite here. So you have both energies represented, the easier energies and the more stressful energies. Okay? It is an excellent chart for a disciple to work even through a difficult and stressful circumstances, but that is the way for a disciple to progress.
What would you say?
Yeah.
It can be, I guess, a positive thing if I can walk away from this and carry away the answer to stuff not sticking in my mind, simple stuff. I try to pull it forward and it just doesn't come when I want it to come.
Right.
Well, I know there's nothing wrong with me, but, you know, physically.
Right.
Yeah.
Concentration would, as Leonie say, also detachment, you know, from the physical form, particularly emotional and physical detachment would help.
Demonstrating to
Yes.
that part of
Yes.
making it more given it strength, and then it'll come by itself.
Well, nothing comes by itself. We all need to make it happen, you see.
But what I'm saying is coming by itself is it loosens it up by giving the energy in that instead of spreading, with emotions and.
Well, you may be talking more about the relationship issues
Yes,
here,
yes,
right?
exactly.
Which are very important in your life.
Exactly.
Yes, but you see, you have to make some effort yourself. You know, that's why the fourth race, through conflict, we're going to balance and harmony, and love and beauty in that relationship. You see. Maybe my colleagues will add something to it to bring in more new ideas on it. Okay?
Thank you.
Just briefly, Irv, sometimes when things don't stick, I find that in many people's lives, simply learning by doing is the method. So if there's something you have difficulty with sticking to you, then do it in as concrete a manner as possible that you can come up with, and so learning by doing, and that then practice makes perfect. So bring it all the way down. Do not let it stay in a more abstract dimension within you, because then it doesn't become part of you. You seem to be one of those people who really needs to bring it all the way down. You do have the Earth, after all, as the most elevated planet, and it symbolizes exactly that. Bring it all the way down.
That makes sense.
Could I just say that when I look at that T-square, that when you were growing up and when you were a child, I'm really seeing the most repressive forces around you and people who sort of squashed your spirit. And what you learned from that was self-doubt. We've got Saturn here, and doubt is at the core of your issues. I'm going to read the Sabian symbol for your rising sign because it's telling you, what you need, what you can do. And try and get this picture, Irving. It's a massive rocky shore which is resisting the pounding sea. And that's possible image for you to meditate on, needing to be the rock and let it wash over you. Resist it. Don't allow the negative voices to help to cause you to doubt yourself, and that you need to resist those forces. And down here, Mars, the esoteric ruler, we've got seagulls flying together. And what I take from that is you're needing to work together with a group of like-minded souls, like you are. There's the seagulls flying together, and needing to have fun and fly. It's a you will fly, and you will be released from all this pain that you suffered as a child. And I feel that you're still suffering when you learn to stand and resist that relentless pounding of criticism that you experience. Get with like-minded people with right spiritual values, and you will fly.
Okay, sounds very, very good. And, good advice.
Is that the one? Thank you.
One more, right?
Gosh. Let's see. We're starting this. This one here. Let's see.
Hi, Gloria. Can you please start this by telling us what your symbol was and the words of Carol, anything important that came from your meditation?
I'm kind of new about this reading charts and trying to find connections, squares. It's totally new for me. Yesterday I had a lot of symbols that I am going to try in the future for making real. Yesterday, yes. Today I have only flashes and images, but at the last time when we were ending, it was like a snake full of light moving down.
Okay, thank you. What I think I will pick up on that is the snake, because that is related to Pluto, which is the esoteric ruler of your chart. You have Pisces rising, and the snake is always associated with Scorpio, and also with Pluto is one of the rulers in that of Scorpio. And so I see that Pluto is in Libra in the house that it naturally rules, the 8th house of transformation. And you also have your Sun there and Uranus. And so when you said you only saw flashing, I immediately saw that the Sun and Uranus, because Uranus flashes electricity. So very much I'm thinking that what you're picking up on in your meditations is the need for transformation, that you are on the path, and to trust on that. Pluto is also very much the healer, and it's in the sign of Libra, which is all about relationships. And yes, and it suggests that perhaps you may have had some damage in relationships and you need to heal the pain of it, whether that's in a previous life or this life. It's definitely suggesting that there's some deep, deep healing that needs to take place to release you from the square to the south node. There's something from the past that's binding you and holding you from experiencing perhaps the type of relationships that you want. Now that's when you were born, so you may have done that work, and only you will know whether you've done that work. And you will know that by the quality of your relationships, but it is strongly suggesting that. And I'd just like to leave that there for now and let my colleagues talk, and if I have time I'll look at your saving symbols.
Okay, we have a look at the triangle of the fourth ray, which is the Sagittarius powerful energy here with the Dharma point of the MC in Sagittarius, and this very lovely conjunction of Venus Neptune in Sagittarius. Taurus, we have the Mars in Taurus here, and in Scorpio we have Mercury. So we have a powerful representation of the fourth ray triangle. Do you know anything about the rays, Gloria?
Yes.
You do? Would you say you are working with the ray 4 of harmony through conflict?
In fact, I think that my mind is fourth ray.
Your mind might be fourth ray.
May.
That's good. Because, you know, with such a powerful placement of the planets in your chart, the energy must be expressed in your living as a creative, you know, creative living energy. With that conjunction of the Venus Neptune, it's you know, it can be very idealistic a combination. It's, you know, sometimes being too idealistic or having a high ideals and being disappointed, you know, not. Do you experience this
Yes,
in your life?
a lot.
Then comes the disappointment that, you know, or you put yourself, your goals too high, you know, and then not reaching them comes the let down, and, you know, it is good to go by smaller steps and, you know, say, I want to do this, which I can achieve realistically, then put the goal too high, and then comes the disappointment, you see. So that's why I feel that the energy of the sixth ray is also playing a very important part in your life with this combination. Where do you see working that energy, sixth ray?
Yes, on emotional level.
On emotional level, okay? Because the Mercury, you see in that Scorpio fourth ray sign, it's in the Sagittarian house. You see, so the Sagittarian energy of the vision, of the search for the truth, for the ideal, for some kind of goal in front of you is very powerful here. You see, and because it's also represent the ninth house represent the higher mind, as to the third house of the lower mind. You know, that's where the goal for you is to go. You know, to build. This is the building of the Antakarana, the bridge through the meditation. And Mercury is the planet which rule meditation and the Antakarana. So, building the Antakarana from the lower to the higher mind through the meditative process, and it could be even through service of some kind. So, are you a little bit aware of this?
Yes, because today at the meditation moment, I realized that those flashes are because I have work to do. I have to link lower aspects to the higher, and I have to meld the bridge.
So you are aware that you are working on that process of building
Yes.
that bridge.
Yes.
Well, that is important. And the fourth ray in the creative expression, what creative work are you involved? This is very. Do you like music?
I love music.
This is it. Venus and Neptune conjunction here. You know, it can be even some part of your profession. You know, this is the area of the dharma of the status of the profession. You know, so you can become involved or do something even with the music in the creative process here.
You know, Elena, arriving here, I was very concerned about the influences of Saturno squaring Pluto. And those
you
days,
mean this aspect?
yes. So I've been working on that line, focusing on that line, and I didn't think on the other aspects that can be very useful.
Yes, because you see, this is a square aspect, which is one of the most stressful.
Yes, it is.
You know, more stressful aspects in the chart. So, you see, Pluto is the esoteric ruler of your Piscean ascendant. So Pluto is very important, as already Leonie has emphasized here. And Saturn is in reality, you see, not only that it is ruling this house, which is the 11th house of the group process, of the group work, okay, but also the 10th house, it's the natural ruler of the Capricornian Saturn house. You see, so this square aspect is putting a little bit pressure how to fulfill your soul purpose in relation, you know, to the group process, how to work, you know, in a group, but also in the fulfillment of the Dharma here. Okay. And Saturn Pluto combination is very first ray combination. So we need to apply the will here, you know, to resolve the stressful, not only the fourth ray, but also the the first ray, the combination here, you see, in order to move forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess that Pluto square Saturn indicates the need to sever the bonds that hold you captive in your life already from the early days when you were born. And I don't know if you've been fully successful in that process yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. But Pluto as the serpent will perhaps be of aid to you in that process as well, not only as the sword, but maybe the serpent being skillful, being intelligent, being understanding, can help you in that process as well. Otherwise, I mean, you're a rebel of love. A rebel of love. Sun Uranus conjunct in the 8th house there in Libra, with Neptune and Venus as the most elevated planets. You have to break free from those limiting conditions, because you carry something which eventually will be, should we say, of aid to those things that hold you prison. So there's something about you coming back eventually again to your roots, but now not limited, but as a saving force.
And I'll just end this with the Sabian symbol for Pluto, because it's the key to the release for what Nicholas was just talking about, that Saturn-Pluto aspect. Here it is. So a woman watches her ideals taking a concrete form before her inner vision. You need to visualize clearly your dreams or ideals in order to make them truly effectual. It's saying to you that creative visualization is your key here. To vision, breaking those links, to vision what you want, and Pluto, the healer, is going to empower you and help you to do it. So visualization.
Okay, good. Thank you, Lord.
Day is done. The image I had, and this is from yesterday, was a cross and an amalgam of a cross and the Om. That symbol was superimposed. It became the facial features of a lion. And on one side was Neptune, another side was Leo. Most of my planets have progressed into Leo right now. And I had Venus and Scorpio there as well. And the phrase I had was, I stand free to create. And the conflict I had was between the Cancer rising and the Moon Pluto, the Moon square, the Moon Pluto conjunction.
I guess we're coming to the end of the process. Well, let's see, Sharon. Cancer rising with Neptune in the very first degree of Scorpio as the esoteric ruling planet of the horoscope. To me, when you speak about the cross there, it suggests something of the nature of the fixed cross, and the signs of the fixed cross being Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius. And that Neptune in Scorpio would certainly connect you to that. When you speak about those planets, you mentioned Venus, Neptune. What comes to me is something about the task for you in the purification of the waters. In a way, you got that Neptune in Scorpio, and with Cancer rising and Mars in that same sign, I would say that that's about the same issue. The purification of the waters, it relates to the astral body. It deals with the motion or movement of energies out of the solar plexus center into the heart center. It is really about becoming baptized in the waters of life in a way. And you got that Aquarian midheaven in the very last degree there. It's I think that's a little bit symbolic in it now. Now is the time to release those purifying waters, those cleansing waters, those life-giving waters into that aspect of your personality, which we usually call the astral body. And that, of course, is the release of the Buddhic, should we say, the Buddhic particles into your astral field. And thus, a great transformation is taking place for you. That is a major thing for you in this lifetime, it seems. So I'll do like this and open up to the Scorpio ladies.
Scorpio lady, okay. Now, as always, I am looking at the fourth ray triangle between Taurus, where you have conjunct Mercury with the South Node. In Scorpio, there is the North Node and Neptune, right? Your esoteric ruler of ascendant. And in Sagittarius, we have a Saturn conjuncting the esoteric ruler of Sagittarius. A powerful placement and emphasis on the Sagittarian energy when esoteric ruler is placed in its sign which it rules. So I would imagine you have a fourth ray in your nature.
Mental
body, right? So out of these three signs, I would say with the Neptune as an esoteric ruler would be most emphasize the scorpionic energy in relation to the soul purpose when I'm looking at the fourth ray triangle. Okay? Now, Neptunian energy in the fifth house of the creative self-expression. I mean, it's very musical, right, for you. Do you feel you're working with this Neptune mostly in that aspect of your life?
Mostly what I do is music and writing.
Music.
And writing.
And writing. Mm-hmm. Now, the second, in a way of strength and emphasis, I would look at the Sagittarius, particularly with that placement of the Earth being there. And this is an energy of a searcher, of a seer. You know, it's a search for serious things here with the Saturn. You know, there is no light road to take. You know, something is very of great importance here, and it's going into depths. You know, it's the Scorpio house being emphasized here, where the Saturn is ruling. You see, so in the sixth house of work, you know, and a detailed work, I would say. How do you see this energy working in your life? Have you ever looked at that Saturn in relation maybe to the fourth ray or sixth ray or fifth ray? Which ray out of the Sagittarian energy would you say?
I've looked at it as the way I have been able to discipline myself to practice or to learn what I know, because it's not in my nature to stick with something so easily.
Right, because I know you have strong third ray somewhere, right? So, because Sagittarian is, this is the concentrated, one-pointed focus, of the mind. And as you say, staying with it, with the Saturn, So I have a goal, and instead of diverting to other things, to stay with that goal until it's finished. That is maybe not so easy.
That's what I'm working with now.
Right. Okay. So this is basically my role here, focusing on the fourth ray and triangle, and how would you say when we say of working with the fourth ray, harmony through conflict, in relation to the Buddhic plane and to the intuition? Are you working more towards the soul vision through the Sagittarian, let's say, energy, or would you say you're going to the intuitive or Buddhic level?
I'm not really sure, but I'm not really sure.
You're not very sure.
Not at the moment. There's
But
shifting happening.
There must be a flashes of intuition.
Always have been, yeah.
Yes.
That's never.
Yes. Particularly maybe through the music.
I notice it when I don't have to speak, actually. So most of what I get through image, sense, sound, and then I can play it or write it.
Right. Well, these are the, sound, light, color. These are the energies of the fourth ray, you see. So fourth ray energy is more learning through visual or touching or not learning process, where you have to employ the mind, but concentration of the mind for you, it's also important. Okay? Thank you.
And what I'd like to look at for you, Sharon, is your ascendant and the esoteric ruler of your Cancer ascendant, which is that Neptune. And it's really interesting because I can see that you were born to resolve some problem that you had in the past, and it's really interesting. The Sabian symbol for 4 degrees is a cat arguing with a mouse. And it's attempted self-justification, and I see that as the ego really bossing the soul around. And you were born with that, and there's Neptune retrograde saying, and it moved back into Libra, and it's still in Libra, and it's still, it turned retrograde, it's turned direct. And so there we have you being asked by your soul to go back over and look at relationships and needing to bring balance and harmony into your relationships and get the relationships right so that the tail isn't wagging the dog, the personality isn't bossing the soul around. You're needing to really do that. That's what it asked of you. And Neptune went direct at 1994, so I would expect that that was a significant period for you. It's as if your period of recapitulation and learning finished around then, and you started to go forward again, so you might think about those dates later. It's still in Libra, and it won't reach that position again until 2020. That's another significant date for you, because after that, you're free flying after that. I feel that you still are, you're moving forward, you've done your karma, that sort of thing. But that is really quite interesting, and I'll just read, it's still in the 30th degree of Libra, and I'm going to leave this with you because I really can't interpret it, and I think you can ponder it. It's 3 mounds of knowledge on a philosopher's head, and the keynote is the fulfillment of understanding at whatever level of existence you are operating. So really understanding and self-realizing at whatever level. Now you're functioning at a very high level there, but there's the symbology for you. I sort of think there's a triangle on that, and I think the sky's the limit.
Thank you.
Someone pinging. Okay.
Sharon, your last one? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So to the webinarians out there and to the people coming in, thank you to Elena and Nicholas and Leonie for their work today. And we'll just be taking a few moments break as people come in from their other rooms. This is to the webinarians. And in a few moments we'll be doing our summary and our final closing for today.